You guys, we're back with the lady's choice. And I feel like we're getting towards the end, but last time I said that we we did not end. Oh, my microphone is falling over. I'm sorry. So I'm trying to remember where we left off. I'm so glad. It feels like an eternity since I've played this game, even though it's been a few days. Oh my gosh. I'm excited because we're going to finish it today. And it's going to be fun. If I remember correctly, we met the Swindler again, which we all know is Larry. And we also got to see Montfort again. So hopefully... I believe... Oh yeah, the guy took our... What's it called? The guy basically took our hat. How not... how not... I can't think of the word. Anyways, we're back, and we're going to play this game. And so, basically, I ended it the last time right here. Basically, we just got our hat taken away. So, I hope that our character... Because we know who it is. We know that the masked man is... Larry, but she doesn't know that. She doesn't know that it's Amesbury, so we're gonna continue on. Arabella's basically like, girl, are you okay? That's what she's doing right now. And we are. She takes my arm and we wander on down the street, my thoughts lingering once again on the masked stranger. Sleep finds me quickly that night, but my dreams are a whirlwind of masks and shadows. That sounds creepy. I am thankful Arabella has canceled our plans for the next day, concerned it would be too much for me to bear after the night before. She's always so... I don't get why she is extra, concerned after the second time. I mean, I guess, one time it's one thing. But then again, it's she wasn't like this, after the first time it happened. She's so, when people dote on you and you're just always like, I'm fine, you don't have to do that, it's cool, but she's just, they overly have to take care of you and all that. So for instance, she's saying, are you sure I cannot tempt you more tea, Rose? I shake my head and smile as she comes towards me, bearing a teapot like a cure-all potion. She has barely let me be all more. Yeah, that's annoying. Sometimes what people need, when they have experienced something, they need a certain amount of alone time. When they say leave me alone, a lot of times people mean it. And then sometimes I get it. People will say leave me alone, but they don't obviously mean it. There's even a song lyric I have to mention from a 21 Pilots song called and it goes. It goes from saying leave me alone, and then it goes to don't leave me alone. It's called Kitchen Sink. It's a very emotional song and gets you every time. So just leave us alone, Arabella. Okay, what can I say? You haven't had any rest yourself. Please sit down. Leave me be already. If I have any more tea, I fear I'll return to a teapot myself. Yes, thank you. I think we should say leave me be. It's not like we're trying to be rude. It's amazing when people are wanting to make sure you're okay and they're comforting you, but leave us be, please. Leave me be already. Arabella, please leave me be. I barely had any respite from your worry all morning. And then it makes you more on edge when people are just worrying, Oh, I am sorry. She places down the teapot and comes to sit beside me. I just want any uneasiness over last night to be settled. Johnson instantly shuffles in to take away the tea things, seeming a little comfort at no longer having his duties overtaken by Arabella. You need not worry about such a thing. I am unaffected. Well, also too, can we just be Arabella, we're fine. That's the worst criminal I've ever come across. Because he literally doesn't take anything. I mean, he does, but he just gives it back to you, and it's you never feel like your life is in danger, kind of a thing. I shiver at the memory of the swindler's fingers against the sensitive skin of my neck. but quickly shake it away. I know that, and I admit it, I do not think he wishes violence against you, but I'm still concerned over his favoring you in such a way. I cannot believe it is a good thing to catch the eye of any man such as he. Well, duh. Promise you, it was not my intent to do so. I know, but it still seems to have happened. You are more than even my family could be to me, Rose. Oh, because we're not boring like your cousins? Usually people go like, oh, you're like my family, but she's like, you're more than family. You're like an Adonis or something. I just wish for you to be safe and happy. Her brow creases in... I can't speak, I'm sorry. Her brow creases in seriousness, and I cannot help but be warmed by her heartfelt sentiment. I place my hands on hers and smile, hoping to relieve some of her tension. Oh, enough of all that. Come, let's eat. Let us eat. We haven't eaten yet? You know, finger sandwiches with our little tea party? She reaches for the breakfast tray, only to frown as her gaze passes over the newspaper. An article on the society swindler is featured on the main page. Oh, I should have hidden this. She looks angry at herself. You see that? I apologize. There is no need. I have a good friend who works at this paper. I should contact him and tell him to stop writing such gossip-laden stories. Well, this door, like, it always catches me off guard. Before I can respond, a knock sounds at the door. We never get guests. No, we do. We both wait for a moment until Johnson walks in. A familiar cape and hat is in his grasp. Foxley? Oh, how do I know? Colonel Foxley to see you. Oh, sorry, I read that. I thought that was weird for a second. The visitor is well received as I hear Arabella give a light, excited gasp beside me at the announcement. I think she likes Colonel Foxley more than us, so she needs to think about her words. She just has time to press her curls a little tighter with her fingers before the Colonel strides inside. I'm your density. Good morning, Arabella. Miss Smythe. Call me Rose. Thank you. Finally, long overdue. Call me Rose. Good morning, Colonel. I hope you will call me Rose. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, that would be a great honor. One I hope you will return. I notice Arabella's smile brighten at the conversation. She quickly stands and moves toward him. What brings you here today, Ernest? His cheer quickly fades and he steps closer, his hands outstretched to take hers. I had heard. I try to glance away from the intimate touch, but he seems to remember I am there and snaps his hands back from Arabella. I heard a rumor that you had yet another encounter with the swindler. Like, why is everyone so devastated? Like, yeah, it's scary, but we're fine. Like, it's alright. People need to calm the frick down. My word, news truly does spread fast in this town. Yep, it does. Then it's true. It is. She turns to look at me, her concern once again returning. He took Rose's hat. I should have been there. My duty is to protect. Dude. You don't have to be at her hip the entire time. We could be all... Okay, here we go. What kind of answers do we have? You couldn't have known. Please do not worry yourself. Yeah, he couldn't have known that crap. I am quite capable of protecting myself. That's the feminist answer? Yes? Or just, I don't know. You cannot be everywhere at once. Your presence would have helped. Oh gosh, like, don't make him feel bad. Like, well, you would have helped, but alas, you were not there. And don't get offended about my feminist remark. That's what it's about, right? It's being a strong woman, protecting herself. It's, no offense is supposed to be taken. It's just an observation is what I'm saying. I mean, these are kind of the same thing. Like, you couldn't have known, you cannot be everywhere at once. I'm going to say you can't be everywhere at once. You cannot be everywhere at once, even as much as you may wish it. Well, no, you're right, but still. As you can see, I am quite well, no harm done. Still, I should not be so remiss again. He turns to Arabella and notices his hands clenched behind his back to keep them in place. To the best of my capability, I vow to keep you safe. I shall attend the functions you do, and escort you back from all of them. don't need to. Like, that's nice, but I mean, I don't know why I feel weird about that. Like, yeah, like, oh, maybe do you have to go everywhere? Like, when we go to the doctor and everything? Like, that's too much. That's too clingy. I will not let any misfortune fall upon you ever again. His words towards Arabella are so heartfelt, so full of promise emotion that I feel a pang in my chest. Hey, I was the one attacked. Okay, my hat, I am hatless right now, okay? Why is he, like, acting like it's an Arabella thing? It's like, dude, it's me. He likes to harass me. Anyways, the two stare at each other, silence heavy, the air laced with unspoken words between them. As quietly as I can, I tiptoe from the room, though neither pay me much mind. So what do? Leave? I guess so. I close the door behind me and head into the foyer where I come upon Johnson laying a small box on the table. Who is that for, Johnson? The man glances at me one bush. It's gonna be my freaking hat. Gosh. It is for you, Miss Smythe. Oh, what a shock. It better go differently with this whole thing because, like, I don't need a repetition of he stole my gloves, he stole my hat, oh, and then he stole my panties, he stole my shirt. Like, we don't need that. We need to get to the answers that Rose needs. Curiosity forces my feet forward, or forwards, which I don't think that's even forwards. You could just say forward. And I frown at the small pink box. Its sides held together by a fine lace ribbon. Thank you, Johnson. He gives a bow of his head and shuffles away. When he's disappeared around the corner, I gingerly pull at the bow, which unravels. The box sides fall open. I stare at the sugar-dusted sweets inside, each containing their own yellow paper case. What? That's what they called it? A yellow paper case? Not a wrapper? Okay. Oh. Though I am surprised by the contents, I am not so shocked to see a note. People call me a thief, but I wonder if it is not you who has become so. You steal all my attentions, Miss Smythe, and I find I'm more than pleased to have them taken by you, even if my other patrons may feel a little left behind. Yours eagerly, the Society Swindler. Girl, you already knew he knew your name. He knows my name? Like, she had... I mean, if I'm not mistaken, in the first thing he sent her with the flowers, and we wanted to send them back, and then Arabella's like, no, you must keep them. It's like, girl, what you doing? No. And then we were like, wanted to get rid of it, and it had our name on the, what's it called? The envelope or something? The envelope? Once again, his note finds me awash in a torrent of uncertain emotions. I shake my head to try and clear it, then glance at the box. There is an emblem at the top, one I recognize from the same street as the florist. Glancing back towards the drawing room, it seems Arabella and the Colonel are not missing my... Well, no shite, they're in love. Love. So I tug on my cape and I leave the house to make my way towards the center of town. They're not going to tell you jack. This is all unless there's a plot twist and Larry's there to meet us, because he's just like, I have to tell you what I really do in my free time. and then we're gonna be like, oh, what a shock, but not really. Yeah, story of my life and whatnot. Okay. The confectionery what is that? Shop with the same emblem as a few doors away from the florist, and I head inside. Is that what they call candy stores? I'm really confused. The young man greets me and answers my questions about the parcel without hesitation. Once again, he has no certain details on who bought the package, but he was asked to give over a parcel should I come asking about it. Oh my gosh, again. It's gonna be my hat. I take the large circular box from the man and give my thanks before heading out into the street. If she is so surprised it's her hat, oh my gosh. Like, I didn't see that coming. It's like what happened last time, but with a hat and some candy. Scurrying to a shadowed shadowed edge of the street, I eagerly tear away the ribbon holding the lid onto the box. I suppose I shouldn't be too... They know I'm playing this, don't they? I suppose I shouldn't be too shocked to find my hat lid inside. The article kept pristine by the silk lining of the container. Another note lays atop of it. The same words emblazoned on the cream card that had been on my gloves. Curious minds should always be rewarded. You're secretly the society swindler. Should I tell Arabella? No, she'll just worry herself into hysteria. Exactly! Or excite herself until then. I shake my head at the thought and slip the card back into the box. Just as I make it to step back out in the street, I almost bump into someone. Oh, excuse me, Larry. No, it's my fault. Mr. Amesbury? Miss Smythe, what a delightful surprise. Boo, really? He tips his hat to me, and a glimmer in his eyes as he smiles widens. How strange to have happened upon you here once again. How strange. Indeed, though I find it even more odd to have found you seeming to have purchased a hat from a confectioner's. His gaze passes to the shop behind me, then to a package I hold. How intuitive of you to know it is a hat in the box when it could have possibly be a cake. That face, he's like, oh, you have a point. You're smart. I know I'm smart. I'm Miss Smythe, okay? I'm Rose Smythe. For once I seem to have caught him off guard, and I tilt my head a little as he stumbles to reply. My servants purchased some lovely goods from that confectioner's, and I simply know that they do not sell cakes in that kind of packaging. I examine him for a moment longer, unsure what to make of his sudden uncertainty. He quickly speaks to break the quiet. He says, I was actually just on my way to call on you. Call on me. Isn't that a song? In fact, so it's very lucky I have come upon you here. Shall we? That will be lovely. I like how we just left the house and we're like, peace. And you go figure this crap out. Enjoy your Foxley. I take his offered arm and fall into familiar places beside him. My previous thoughts washed away by his closeness. We pass through the park, sticking to the quieter areas. I've been thinking more about the gathering I promised Lady Ashburn I would host in a few weeks. Is the planning progressing well? No, in fact, it seems I have a little ability at planning such things. Oh! He wants us to help. You know what? We need an interrogation scene is what we frickin' need. That was the purpose of my calling upon you today. Really? Oh? what happened? Sorry. I had hoped to enlist you as an advisor of sorts to help me put it all together. You mean do the whole entire frickin' thing? Like I'm a maid of honor? I'm sure your staff are more than... See? She's like, I don't want to frickin' do it. She's like, I'm Rose Smythe. You treat me like a queen. You don't put me to work. What a dillhole. I'm sure your staff are more than capable, but they are not you. Oh, you want to see me work? I swallow hard at his heavy words, his gaze turning soft. Oh, we have to say yes? I thought I could say no. And then be like, oh well, like, I don't care, no skin off my nose or whatever they say. Don't bother my butt. I would be delighted. Nothing would make me happy. I wouldn't want to dash Arabella's hopes. These are all horrible answers. I wouldn't want to dash Arabella's hopes. But I wouldn't wish to dash... That's such a... Mrs. Dash. Whatever. She's so looking forward to attending a gathering on the crescent. Almost the croissant. Whatever. Whatever. Well, we certainly cannot disappoint her. Then I shall call on you tomorrow morning. We can begin preparations at my house. Alone? Far from it, unfortunately. My father has given me the service of a chaperone. Why? Huh? You need a chaperone to, like, watch your kid make plans? What is that? Going to the middle school dance, I guess, you guys. I'm sure Mrs. Peaks will be overjoyed to be put to some use rather than having to listen to more of Pierce's exultations over society's company. I give a laugh and he pulls me a little closer, his hand finding mine tucked into his arm. And now I'm most looking forward to the coming weeks. The next day, Mr. Amesbury arrives promptly with the carriage in tow, and we head straight to his house, even though he thinks carriages are annoying. It is a hypocrisy. It is a grand place with rich furnishings and open rooms. We spend most of the first day acquainting me with his staff. And with the house I am far too nervous to do much else than look about. The few days after that I continued to try and make myself at home in his grand lodgings, still a little uneasy at having the run of someone's house. Mr. Mumford is polite, though seems rather distracted and not too aware of my presence. You don't get the eye candies. Attention? How rude. But it matters little, as I find myself drawn to Mr. Amesbury's company whenever possible. I like how it's all dark. Darkness. It isn't until the end of the week that I feel confident enough to begin helping prepare properly. Was I staying there? That's kind of weird. I feel we should acquire some better lighting. What, are we gonna risk lighting ourselves on fire with all those gas lamps? Can do some strobe effects by just putting our hand up to the lamp and taking it away, and putting our hand up and taking it away. Somebody scream. I glance at the candlelit chandelier, which is beautifully draped in sparkling crystals, but it provides little light. Well, okay. It is bright enough with sunlight, but your guests may find it more difficult as evening falls. No shite, Miss Smythe. That's how light works. When there's less light, it's darker. When there's more, it's lighter. I turn to Mr. Amesbury only to find him gazing at me with a smile. Mr. Amesbury, you don't seem to be focused on the task at hand. He's just looking at me. He's like, hey girl, what up? Is it possible to do so when you are much more distracting than anything else? Mrs. Peaks would not favor such talk between us alone. That I am most grateful she is not here. But I apologize. I asked you here to help, and you're doing so most efficiently. I shall note down better lighting. Would your family be pleased to know you're holding such an event? Most certainly. Though I wonder if my father would not keel over from shock. That I would make an effort in society at all will give him false hope that I might try harder in the future. And what of you? Helping me with this will surely gain you some favor amongst our peers. I'm not doing this for their benefit. Gaining favor is not a bad thing. I'm not sure how to use that favor. What? Gaining favors amongst our peers? Like, hey, I do this, you do this for me. Friends do things for each other because they want to. They don't do it because, like, oh, if I do this, they're gonna do something for me in return. It's like, no. It's like you do it because you want to, not because you, like, want to get something from them. I'm just gonna say this. Oh, society, sorry. I may surprise you later. I'm not helping with this for society's exceptions. It barely surprised me at all, considering the way you have shunned them all so far this season. Yeah, we're shunners. Something Arabella would not be pleased to hear. Yeah. Obviously, your friend's opinion ranks higher than that of society's? Of course. Good. Footsteps sound by the door, and Amesbury glances towards it. Indeed, it is our friends that help make us the people we are. And I wouldn't be quite so boring if it weren't for Pierce's most studious tutoring. At that moment, Mr. Montfort walks to the door, a book partly open in one of his hands. And here you are. But he looks upset. He seems kind of like a moody fella. That's a downside. Sometimes eye candy doesn't have the whole package. Just the candy. Not the, what do they call it? The paper case? He doesn't have his paper case. Not the whole paper casing. If only you were half as humorous as you think you are, Lawrence. We may be doubled over in laughter. Mr. Amesbury chuckles and pulls Mr. Montfort further into the room. Oh, come now. You find me most hilarious in private company. I am loath to agree to such. It's 'cause they're drunk when they do it. I'm joking. But you are quite right. I best get this list to the staff. I'll be only a few moments. Throws a lingering smile in my direction before disappearing out the door. It has been many years since I have seen him so bright. It must be your influence, Miss Smythe. Was that a poem, Monty? I dig it. I notice his smile drop at the statement, and I frown in confusion. Well, I'm sure he's simply excited for the upcoming gathering. I find that highly unlikely due to Lawrence's continual shunning of any kind of Yeah, like what the heck? It's acting like, oh, we'll have favor from the society. And I'm like, what? Till you came along, of course. Whatever the reason, I'm glad to see him happy. Yes, though I wish he could find the company of his old friends quite so riveting. Is he basically like, ever since you came into his life, he pays no attention to me? It's like, bro, get over it. I can't help I'm Miss Smythe, okay? I can't help I'm Rose frickin' Smythe, okay? You are quite the focus of all his time, Miss Smythe. And though I understand the draw of a beautiful face, I hope he would also look for conversation from his actual peers. Jeez. That's like when the friend is like, I have a problem with you because he only spends time with you, not me. I do not mean that as slight, not at all. I just wished. The sound of the door makes us both flinch, the strange tension that had filled the room, thankfully disappearing with Larry's return. Sorry for taking so long. I was accosted by Mrs. Peaks, who was actually hoping to get your opinion on something, Pierce. Of course, I would never like to keep a lady waiting. Mr. Montfort's stiff gaze shifts to me for a moment, a frown knotting his brow. Then he smiles politely, bows, and strides from the room. Dude, it's like, what is he trying to tell me? Like, oh, stop, hanging around him. It's like, we don't even really hang out that much. It's not even that big of a deal. Like, he can do whatever he wants in his private life when we're not together. I take an uncertain breath as soon as he's gone, thankful it is once again just me and Larry. Is everything alright? I've only been gone a moment. It seems like the air has grown dreadfully heavy. I glance at Larry, his brown eyes sparkling in the sunlight bursting through the windows. Everything is quite fine. Mr. Montfort said some strange things. I'm happy to return to preparations with you. Let's throw Monty under the bus. What do you say? Like, it's not my fault. Just talk to your friend. Like, talk to your friend. Don't talk to me. Gosh. People, like, always, like, try to think, like, oh, well, they're the problem. It's like, just talk to your freaking friend. Maybe you can solve your freaking problem. Don't talk to the other person. Jeez. Mr. Montfort, I pursed my lips, not sure how to continue. He didn't offend you, did he? I promise it was not his intention. He's too far too stuck in society's ways to even realize his words. No, it is nothing. I let out sharp breath, thinking better of saying anything. That is a relief to hear. I wouldn't want you and Pierce to be getting off on the wrong foot. Well, he's, like, putting his wrong foot towards me, and I don't like that. He's, after all, my closest friend, and you are... He cut his words short. Did I catch my breath in anticipation of what he was going to say? Yes? You must know what I mean to say. How can I when you did not finish? I'm not a mind reader. My skin prickles with excitement as he steps closer. His warm breath washes over me as he leans close, his gaze flickering between my eyes and my lips. Miss Smythe. I can barely hear him over the thudding of my heart. He leans further towards me, his body achingly close to mine, his arms moving to wrap about me. I believe you'll be needing this. I glanced down to see that he had simply reached by me to retrieve the book I had been using for reference. So we returned to preparations. Bro, you could have kissed her and she would have been like, yay! Oh, we're gonna friend zone him so hard. We're evil. He throws me a teasing smirk before turning back to the face of the room. You are a tease, Larry. I shake my head and smile, trying to still the racing of my heart. It's broken. Over the next few weeks, Larry and I spend nearly every day in each other's company. But he doesn't make a move. Make a move. Bust a move. My Miss Monty helps on occasion, though usually he tends to call Larry away to discuss other details, because he's a bitch. Now I don't really like Monty. A little wench. Splits his time between us as best he can, and I'm just glad to enjoy the stretches of time we do have together. Planning the event is certainly no chore, though it takes longer than expected due to our continual conversations. Finally is the day of the gathering, and I have arranged to meet Arabella and Ernest in the afternoon before heading to Amesbury's for any final preparations. Okay, we're gonna save here. And we'll have to continue it in another part because I feel like, we've been going for like a half hour, and this gathering is probably where it might end, and even if it isn't, it's gonna be pretty long. So I'm gonna see you guys. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be the 7th part after this one. I will see you guys rather soon in the next part. So see you soon. That was a weird part. It was just repetition of what the swindler. Can we just figure out who the swindler, or have our character figure it out already? Cause, jeez, I'm getting impatient. Bye.